Welcome back to the channel. My name is Max, and it's a beautiful morning outside. It's 6:30 a.m. and it's a new opportunity to build software. So, if you recall correctly, yesterday we kind of made the base for the Claro cookie consent dialog. So today we're going to continue on this path. And I think we should wrap this up today and maybe begin with our Google Analytics. So first thing I want to do is maybe ask, no, not ask Cursor. First thing I want to do is to launch the application locally and to see what state this cookie consent dialog is in. So that's exactly what I'll do. I'll deploy my command. Cool, stuff is spinning. Then I go to browser. Cool. The problem is, however, that the consent has already been given for this browser and this application. So what we need to do is go to Application tab in our Developer Tools. Where is it? Storage. Oh, storage, actually. And I just want to delete Claro localhost. Now we can refresh, and as you can see, it's asking for our consent. Hi, could we please enable some additional services for analytics? You can always change or withdraw your consent later. That's okay. Cool. And I think something should be visible in the console logs. Google Analytics consent changed, false. Google Analytics disabled, Claro loaded, done. Okay, but I don't see where is it enabled. It's only disabled. Again, let's copy paste this output. And let's paste it in the Cursor chat. That's first. So, and then second is I want to create a dummy class that would kind of imitate the Google Analytics initialization class, and then insert some logs to see if analytics would be enabled. Oh, actually, we already have this. Here's a callback, and I can see that there has nothing changed. Nothing has changed, right? I should have seen like Google Analytics enabled. Let's voice our concerns to Cursor. So this is the output that I get when giving my consent to analytics. Yeah, however, I don't see the analytics being enabled. And if we go to storage and if we go to cookies, you can see that this thing, Claro, again, we can go to Notepad. Yeah, sure. Oh, actually, it's false. Okay, cool. How is this false? It should have been true. Okay, maybe that's something we need to tell as well. Has been enabled. Analytics has been enabled, and and I see that the application storage. Okay, let's see what it has to say. Okay, so it thinks that the problem isn't the timing. If we scroll up a little bit, claims that it sees the issue, management is working correctly, it's been initialized. Yeah. So the issue appears to be the Claro is working correctly, but there might be a timing issue or the consent is being reset. Let me check if there are any other scripts that might be interfering. Based on the logs, Claro is loading, the consent callback is being triggered, but the consent is being stored as false instead of true. This suggests there might be an issue with how the consent is being processed. Let me create a more robust Claro configuration that includes better debugging. Okay, so it wants to insert some debug print, right? Debug true. Because this is a part of Claro configuration. I wonder. Callback. Okay. Cool. On consent changed. On first load. I wonder if it makes up these functions. Let's go to Claro official website. Documentation, tutorials, contextual consent. So it uses an iframe. Okay. Services. Okay, we've seen this. We already have a service for Google Analytics. That's cool. That's it? That's the whole guideline? Google Tag Manager, maybe? Okay. Okay. So basically, this is a script that can be enabled or disabled given the data name tag, right? So Claro would collect consent for Google, and then this is the filtering basically key, right? If consent is given, then scripts with these tags are going to pass. Example config, okay. On accept, on decline, name, cookie purpose, accept. Okay. Example config, right? So first thing, I want a cursor to get through this piece of text and see if we're doing everything right. I think we don't do everything right. Here is a piece of official documentation. And maybe we can find something else. Integration maybe? Overview, what is this? Integrating Claro. Deferred loading, script Claro. I don't want to defer anything. I want it to load immediately. This will cause the browser to download the Claro script in the background and only execute it after the remaining page has been parsed and loaded. This loading mode is the preferred way to integrate Claro, as it won't cause any delays on the page. So it can, I'm assuming, take considerable time, regardless of how long it takes the script to load. Furthermore, all deferred scripts are executed in the original order in which they appear in the source code of your page, contrary to asynchronous scripts, which can be executed in any order. This makes it possible to load multiple scripts, like your Claro config file and main script, in a deferred way and still be able to be executed in the right order. Okay, synchronous, around 100 milliseconds. That's not much. That's like one blink of an eye, basically. Is 50 milliseconds, or a little bit more than that, probably. Okay. Also, we can say if the problem is in asynchrony or in defer loading, then I'm okay if it loads it first. And then executes everything else. Like 100 milliseconds is not a big deal. At least let's make it working for now. So I want to say if deferred loading is a problem, just load it synchronously. Maybe I misspelled it, but whatever. So, and I just like a final question, do we do everything right according to the documentation? And then maybe we can mine something else. What's testing? Testing true. Okay, it's not debug, it's testing. If you use Claro with API-backed configuration, simply deactivate your configuration via the web interface. I don't think we use this. And then this will ensure blah blah blah. Okay. About testing. What else do we have? Annotated configuration. Oh, that's interesting. This is an annotated example Claro config file that shows you how to use different config options. You can download it here. Perfect. So probably we should have posted this to Cursor AI before implementing anything, so it does not hallucinate about the options in the config, right? You see that we can customize different options like cookies and callbacks and whatever else. So this is the main piece of the documentation we should have read beforehand. Okay. Okay, should be much better now. Okay, so there were actually some mistakes made. Yeah, let's let it finish. So what did it do? Loading method. So we're using dynamic imports and manual script loading, but the docs recommended using a simple script tag. Okay. What else? Configuration loading. We're importing the config dynamically, but Claro expects it to be available as a global variable. Okay. Missing required attributes. We're missing the data config attribute on the script tag. I don't think we had any script tags. Okay, let's see what it changed. Okay, so I think it removed the window object. It does not write anything to window objects anymore. If I... Oh no. It's overridden. Okay. If we go like this, or wait, now I'm confused. I thought it Claro config. Why do we need two configs now? So now there are two configs, one in the public config and one in the source config. Okay, maybe before pushing this to Git, I should have added this to cursor rules and other README files, so it does not hallucinate that much. So basically what it did, we already had a config, right, in source config folder, and now it made an additional one in public config folder. Now I want to just ask, why did we need this? That's first, and second is let's just ask this first thing. So that would be the first question, right? Why did you create another Claro config and put it somewhere else? If we already had a config, you could have just modified the previous one. Also, let's just add this to... Can I add this to chat from here? I think no. So I'll add this to, and add the, no, this we don't need. And another one is inside sources. I think it's this one. Wow, cursor chat. Cool. Now let's read through this Claro provider. I don't like the provider. The diff window, so I'll just read the source file. So what did it change? There's a console log, okay. And then he removed the script. So previously he added the script to the DOM. He attached the script source. He gave it some attributes and he set it as deferred. Okay, cool. And now what he does, again, he creates an element it's now synchronous. An element is a script, right? And attaches. Is it the same config / Claro config? Yeah, it's the same config. Config. Another script. Okay. So basically what it does, it now loads both the configs from... Okay, there are two configs. The one is the actual source files of Claro.js. Okay, of Claro. The one that is big, right? I showed you the previous time. This one, right? A lot of code. So this is the one that we downloaded from their official website. And it's not strictly speaking a config, it's just a Claro script. Cool. So we attach this to our HTML page. And then this one is the actual config. Okay, where we configure the workings, the internal workings of this big JS script. So let's go back to Claro provider. So it attaches both of these, both of the script and the config. So this is the script. This is the config. No, the other way. The other way around. And it sets a timeout. Okay, maybe this works. Maybe this doesn't work. I don't know. I just want to ask this additional question. Okay, so it removes the newly created config, right? So the Claro scripts remained untouched. That's good. And now he just made changes to this Claro config. Cool. No duplicate. Next.js compatible using dynamic imports. Okay, proper structure following the official documents, enhancing logging. Okay. So when I run the application, what should I see in the console logs when I give consent? All right, so this is what he imagines it's to work like. All right, let's just... So how I usually do this, I first just briefly breeze through the changes. If they look kind of okay, I just let it run. And if it's cool, I read through the code again, maybe ask some additional questions, follow-ups, and then commit. And I only try to step in case nothing is working and there has been like a couple of iterations back and forth, like fix this, it tries, nothing happens, nothing works. And if I feel that it's stuck, then I have to step in, maybe revert some changes and do some manual coding. I kind of figured out that this is the fastest way of doing it. So yeah, let's just give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's clear the config, the terminal, and then, well, okay. Boom. So let's just remove the consent. Delete all session. No, just this one. So let's open up the console. Can I clear it? Okay. There's been no dialog shown, and we have some clear configuration not found. Okay. Let's just post it in the cursor chat. Whoa, that's a little bit too much changes for such a small thing. What did it do? Was consent, accept all. Okay, again, some bunch of changes for the Claro config. And then he inserted some debug prints and some. Okay, I thought I saw this for the previous config that he had then removed. What is this? Jesus Christ. What is this? Removed. So what did it do? So it claims that the issue is likely that the dynamic import isn't working properly or the configuration isn't being set as a global variable. Let me fix this by using a different approach that's more reliable. And what he deems as a reliable approach is just freaking paste the whole Claro config as a string and insert it inside of the HTML like that. So he does not reference the script with a link. It just says, okay, here's the full script embedded into the HTML like this. So when it says no dynamic imports, eliminates the source of the error you were seeing, guaranteed availability, the configuration is created as global variable. Next.js compatible, blah blah blah, simpler, no need to manage separate configuration files. So why changing this config then? Man, this is sloppy. What you should see now. Manager. Okay, I'll give it the last chance before I actually have to step in. Whoa, what is this? Let's go to storage. Let's remove the consent. Oh, there is no consent actually. Then maybe we'll start the application fresh. Let's clear the console and let's run the application first, just in case the hot swap did not work. And okay, too much recursion. Okay, now he hallucinates big time. Okay. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, why do I ask it to revert his changes explicitly instead of me just reverting the changes by hand in this window? Because if I do so, his cursor state gets out of sync. He thinks that the changes are made, but I manually remove them. So usually I just ask him to do that. Okay. So the official docs didn't really work, right? What I want to try next is to find maybe a Medium article where Claro library is integrated with Next.js, right? So I'll just search for something like Next.js and Claro. Should be Claro after setting purpose, GitHub, simple consent management platform, privacy. Maybe just along the way click some relevant articles. Compliant user consent with Claro. Okay, now I'll go to the next page. Something that few people often do. Check their consent with Vue.js before enabling any tracking. Okay, maybe this is relevant as well. It's Vue.js, but still. Using their consent management with Tomo. Integrate their consent management. Compare differences versus React. What do you mean? Surprisingly enough, there are no Medium articles about integrating Claro with Next.js. Maybe like React and Claro. Big Tech Code. Maybe this one as well. Okay, let's see what we could fish out. What is this about? Claro Simple Consent Manager. It's designed to be extremely simple, intuitive, and easy to use while allowing you to be compliant with the relevant regulations. Okay, and then advantages and getting started. So you can now find more extensive documentations on our site. Okay, make sure config gets loaded before Claro. Oh, okay. Config should be loaded before Claro. Let's just double check this thing. So somewhere in the layout, I think. Okay, it's not directly in the layout. It's in the provider. So what loads first? Claro's if window Claro undefined. Again, these are the chunks of previous implementation, I think. We don't check Claro. I think I will just remove this altogether. Like, this is bad. Await import. Claro config. Use effect. Why do we need to use effect? This can be loaded. So, a little bit of a context, right? How Next.js applications are structured. There is client piece, right? The one that runs on your browser. And then there is an API piece. And sometimes they're separated in a very vague way. Some of the code, or most of the code, can be executed on the API side, and this is called SSR, right? Server-side rendering, and then sent to the web client for so-called hydration, I think. Again, not a web specialist, I can get some of the terminology a little bit wrong, but this is the gist of it. And then some of the execution, some of the computation can also happen on the web client side. So things like useEffect being React library webhooks, these are only executed on the client side, as far as I know. And for some reason, Cursor decided to wrap this Claro initialization with useEffect. I mean, I can understand where it comes from. Claro being a client-side library should be initialized in the browser specifically, but should it though? Why would it though? It's still like a JS, vanilla JS code, right, with a CSS. All of this can be executed on the API side. So maybe this is one consideration that we can convey to Cursor, that first thing is, why do we need useEffect, right, to load Claro? Instead, we can just return a static HTML or something with scripts embedded or referenced from this HTML. We don't need any useEffect, as I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, I'll let it correct me if I'm wrong. So this is the first thing, right? I'll just say, according to this piece, to this article, as well as the official docs. We don't need to wrap this Claro initialization in useEffect. Claro initialization with useEffect, and it can be computed on the API side. Evaluated is a better word, probably. Evaluated on the API side. But first, let's go through the rest of the article first, right? You should replace Claro version with a version number to download a specific version of Claro. So we don't download anything, we just refer to our... Oh, wait up. Is this like publicly available? If it is, then that's actually pretty cool. And they say that you can replace with a publicly with a version. So if I replace it like this, so I supposedly can see the sources of this Claro script. Huh. That's curious. Maybe it actually makes sense to just refer to this publicly available CDN. Another question is, it's just an npm JS artifactory, right? Weekly downloads. Okay, so it's like publicly available. Pretty cool. And then we can also link the style sheet. Man, that's exactly what we should have done in the first place. And it's also available as an npm package. No freaking way. Let's go through the whole article, shall we? Because it seems that we can simplify things for ourselves. Install npm iClaro. Man, should have done this the first thing. Okay, so to use the widget on your website, simply embed Claro as well as a valid config. You can have a look at the annotated config, okay, to see how it works. If you want to self-host, you can download compile.js files. Okay, we should dump this. Do not use the Claro.js file from source folder. It will not work in the browser as it's an ECMAScript 6 module and needs to be transpiled first. Not sure what that means, for most browsers at least. Follow the instructions below to adapt the config to your needs. Okay, you should replace Claro version, okay. We no longer update latest version tag in the CDN as loading Claro from it might lead to breaking your installation. Well, obviously this is a conventional way of doing this, right? Fixing the version to something specific instead of latest tag. Otherwise, they might release something with the latest tag, some bug, right? And it would automatically break all of the deployments. And that might be like thousands of websites. Do not forget to change your existing apps trackers as outlined in the next section as well, so the Claro can manage them. By default, Claro will automatically open once the page is fully loaded. We provide a version of Claro without style sheets included, which is useful in case you want to provide your own style sheets. Claro no CSS JS. If you use this, make sure to either include your own styles or to include Claro min CSS separately like this. Claro version, Claro min CSS. Okay, I think we'll use their style sheets for now. And then if we need to customize and configure this, we can do this later on. So we also provide a non-minified version of the style sheet, which is great if you want to make your own version, Claro CSS. If you wish to open the consent manager manually or user interaction, for example, through a link in the privacy policy, you can simply call Claro show via JavaScript. Maybe we can include this link. Maybe we can include this link somewhere in the footer of the landing page so users can configure their consent given, right? Because sometimes you can click like accept all, but then like, oh man, maybe I should recall some of the agreements. Managing third-party apps trackers to manage third-party apps scripts and ensure they only run in the user consent with their use. You simply replace the source attribute with data source. Change the type attribute to text plain and add data type attribute with the original type and add a data name field that matches the name of the app as given in your config file. Okay. 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 Second chance. Second chance for okay, what was the first question we asked according to this article as well as the official docs? We don't need to wrap initialization, blah 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 blah. Okay. So first thing is I just want to ask this additional question about the use effect, right? We discussed earlier. And then I just wanted to start fresh, right? We don't need Claro scripts and Claro CSS sheets locally. We'll refer to the CDN hosted scripts and sheets. And yeah, supposedly this should simplify something. And I want it to make a new plan. Not through React. Yes, yes, yes. That's exactly what we need. Like, I don't want React or Next.js in this equation. I just want this to work as simple as possible. No use effect wrapper. Yes. Implement as planned. Create static config file. Cool. Move the configuration to a static file that can be loaded directly by the browser. Yes. Step 2, load the script tags. Add the script tags directly to the HTML head, either in source app layout, yes, or a separate component that adds a script tag. Okay, let's dump all of the additional components, just inject directly into the layout. So regarding I just want to command it to inject everything directly into the layout JS instead of yet again creating some React components or whatever. Inject directly into layout JS. No wrapper components needed. And then it of course proceeds to just, okay, let's move it like this. I'll allow it to inject the config directly into the HTML page. If that works, we can just extract this into a separate file. But first, let's just make it work. And I see it still references. It still refers to the local Claro scripts, right? I want it to refer scripts from CDN. Reference. You can use So again, I want to simplify this as much as possible so that there is fewer space for smaller space to make an error, a mistake, right? Let's try to follow this link. Open. Okay, this works. What about this one? Okay, this also works. So the links are working. Dangerously set inner HTML. And then one last thing I want to say to it. Man, the output that it generates every time, like you just need minutes to go through it. Simple script loading. Let's extend it a little bit. I like how it praises me every time. Like, oh, you're absolutely right. This is such a great question. Like, good job asking this thing. We're absolutely right. Clicking at the official npm documentation. We're overcomplicating this. Sure. So it now uses static configuration file. Don't use effect wrapper. Cool. Implementation plan. Create static config file. Load via script tags. Nice. Remove React wrapper, eliminate the Claro provider component entirely. Okay, I think I need more coffee for this. I don't want to continue with the local files. Should we add the script tags directly to, or create a simple component? We add the script tags directly to layout.js. Oh! I was reading the previous. Apologies. I was reading the previous response. So, I mean, this message bubble is so dim, and like I think they should highlight it in some way. I just scrolled past it. Okay. Okay, one last thing I would want to ask from it is so this is a bit redundant. So article states we can just refer to our file instead. Where's the config? This one. Add to file to cursor chat. We can just refer to the config as a JS file instead of literally copy pasting it as a string. Just make sure it loads before Claro. No. Let's put it like so. Just make sure the config loads before the actual library. No, don't create anything. There's already a... Okay. Man, what a dummy. include remove the provider. Now there is a Claro config. Okay. And what do we do? Let's see. Okay, so one thing he got right. So there's just a head tag inside of the HTML that we returned, right? This is the root of the application UI, and we just say one script that loads before is the config, right? Claro config, and then we link to the style sheet, and then we link to the Claro.js. So this is, as far as I remember, this is what article suggests us to do. I think it's good enough. Let's just remove, if it's dumb enough so it doesn't remember that we actually have our Claro config over here, let's just remove this locally. Okay. And let's give it a go. Yeah. Should be simple enough so that cursor can keep track of what's changing, right? And let's remove, do we have any consent? Let's just remove everything, delete all, and then just for the sake of safety, we'll start the application fresh, just recompile, rebundle everything. I know that there is hot swap feature in React and web applications altogether. It's just, I don't trust these mechanisms all that much. I come from a different background, so okay. And I think no consent dialog has been shown. That is interesting. Let's see. What else could we have missed? Okay, this could have been an npm package as well. Oh, there's a JavaScript API as well. Yeah, I should have finished the article before implementing anything, because so basically we have several options, right? We can refer to CDN hosted scripts and style sheets. There is also an option where we can install and download an npm package. And then there is also a JavaScript API. And the documentation page is not found. No bueno. How do I integrate this? I don't know. All in all, this consent dialog feature proven to be more difficult than I have expected it to be. It's just surprisingly confusing. It shouldn't be this way. Okay. Did we get any output, by the way? Let's go back to our application, see the console. So I want to ask, like, if I'm supposed to. What is this? Okay, that was just like a line highlight. I thought it was changed. Am I supposed to see any logs in the console? So consent dialog is not showing up. All right. ID Claro config, and then source config.js, source config. Where is it located, by the way? It's in public. Is the path correct, by the way? I'm not sure. Can we open layout? So, source public config. So, again, not sure how this should work, but I'm just assuming that the path starts with everything. The root is public if you refer to scripts. Then strategy before interactive. So I guess this is the earliest we can load the script before anything gets rendered. On load, on error. Okay. Looks good. And then ID Claro script. On load. Okay, again, some timeouts. I don't need any timeouts. What is this bullshit? What is this timeout? I want this to be loaded synchronously. Again, probably misspelled it. Again, who said that this is going to be set into window.claro object? I don't know. Maybe he read the sources of this Claro.js script and it somehow suggests that it's going to be set within the window object. I don't know. Let's just see. Event handlers can be passed to client component props. Event handlers? Which event handlers do we pass where? Okay, I think we've left something like 15 or 10 minutes. I hope we'll be able to wrap this up before that time. If you need interactivity, consider converting part of this to a client component. Which component? Like, we don't have any components. strategy onload function onload. So this, if you need interactivity, consider converting part of this to a client component. Interesting. Okay. So does that mean that we cannot use these callbacks or internal module? Claro is not available. So what does it have to say? This error stack traces from Next.js internal module loading system, specifically from the React server components and TurboPack bundler. It's not directly related to our Clara implementation. The error appears to be happening during Next.js client-side hydration process. Okay, where it's trying to load and instantiate the modules. This could be caused by module loading conflicts. The way we're loading Clara scripts might be interfering with Next.js module system. Script loading strategy using before interactive or after interactive might be causing timing issues. Okay, let's just remove the strategies then. Next.js version compatibility. The React server components pipeline, which suggests that our client-side script loading approach might not be compatible with Next.js architecture. Okay, let's just again, let's save everything. Let's try to run it. Okay, there is no, is there a storage? Okay. Also, so basically this is, these are the logs that I'm seeing. Maybe we can remove the before interactive and after interactive props from here. And on error, anyways, we're passing to the script. Okay. How do we then debug it? Clean minimal implementation, no Next.js conflicts, still follows the official documentation. Okay, so it's all cool and dandy. Oh, Clara config loaded. Storage, cookies. Okay, but it does not write anything. So that is some progress at least. So basically this is a copy of our Claro config. Claro config file loading. Do we write this somewhere? Claro config file loading. Where does this come from? Okay. So basically our config is running. this one, right? And we get error config file is loading and then load it, right? Okay. But we don't get any callbacks from here. Okay, let's just post this thing. Then we still don't see any cookie consent dialog. Yeah, I mean, the links are okay. I think we've tested them before. Open, yep. And then this one, yep. Again. Seems like intact code for me. Check if they're loading, try a different approach. The CDN might be blocked or slow. Quick test. Let's try using the local files again. No, we're not going back to local files again. Data config. Style sheet. Okay. The links are working. I just want to explain. I just want to ask it to explain to me what is the order of execution for this layout.js file, or with like when the HTML is being rendered. Is there an order for the script execution? How is the CSS sheet being loaded by the browser? Like, what is the order? What's happening? Explain to me, how is this piece of code being executed? Where and when? Okay, so it generates the initial HTML and the script tags are being embedded. The HTML is sent to the browser. The browser receives the HTML and starts parsing it. Cool. Next.js and hide reads the page by running the same code on the client. Okay. This is where the script components from the Next.js take over. Cool. The issue is likely timing. Here's what's happening. Config loads. CSS loads. No issues. ClearScript loads. Might be loading but not executing properly. Like Clear might not initialize. ClearScript might be loading but not finding the Clear config variable when it tries to execute. Race condition. ClearScript executes before config is fully loaded. Scope issue. The config variable isn't available in the right scope. Next.js script loading is interfering. Okay, let's try one thing. if you think that the problem is in timing, then let's try to put the config inside the HTML itself to rule out this possibility. Let's try this thing just once. If it works, then we basically pinpointed the issue. If it doesn't, we can revert this change. Okay. Claro testing to your URL. What should I see from inline? Okay. Claro first load event. Initial consents. Google Analytics false. So this is something that we don't see. It's either he made these up, again, like a case of hallucination. These callbacks and on consent changed on first load. I don't remember these in annotated example. Was there something? I see callbacks. Is there really anything on load? Yeah. On consent changed. Let's see if there's no on consent changed. Again, on first load, what is this? Maybe we should. Where did you get these callbacks from? I don't see them in the annotated. Whoops. And then I just, from the official docs. And I think this is the last question we'll be asking from Cursor, and then probably we have to wrap this up for today. Okay. I removed undocumented callbacks. I will get manager consents, which might be available. What did they change? Maybe, by the way, this was exactly what was breaking the whole flow, right? The configuration was not correct. But then this is a JavaScript object. It's not like it. It's like the type serialized. Anyhow. Let's see if it made any difference. I don't think it did. and that is very sad. Let's give it another try. And again. Okay. Nothing is getting showed. And I don't see any cookies set from Claro. Okay. Not ideal. Not ideal. Very unsatisfactory. Okay, guys, I think we'll be wrapping up this for today. It's 7:50 in the morning, and I think I have to prepare myself for the working day. With that said, thanks. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.